Welcome. Welcome to the course of Certification of Organic Production and Geographical Indication. In this lecture, I will speak about Regulation 889 of 2008 of European Commission, which is a regulation and it is an implementation regulation of the other regulation 834 of 2007. Okay, as you see in the next slide, this regulation has 5 titles and different chapters. We'll not treat all the issues and all the titles as you see in this lecture. Even this lecture will be divided for space reasons, will be divided in different parts. However, we are here in the speaking about implementation regulation 889 of 2008. Just to remind or to have a general explanation, which is the structure of this regulation. In this regulation, as I explained previously, there are 5 titles, 22 chapters in total, and 97 articles. Title 1, which is titled Provisions, has 2 articles, is a short title. Title 2, Rules of Production and Processing. This title includes 7 chapters and 54 articles. As you see, it is the longest title. Title 3 is titled Labeling. It includes 3 chapters and 6 articles. Title 4, Controls, includes 8 chapters and 30 articles. And at the end, there is Title 5, Information and Final Provisions. It has 2 chapters and 5 articles. Part of Regulation 889 of 2008, there are some annexes. There are 14 annexes. They are linked to different titles. So when I will treat title and we explain the corresponding and present the corresponding annex for each title. So have a nice study. We'll continue with the first title and second title, Provisions and Rules of Production and Processing. Here you have the link. You have a link or the URL where you can find and can download the regulation. However, I wanted to remind you here, except the link I have presented in the previous slide, you have to check in the repository because you will have these regulations there in order to be easier for you to find them and not to lose time to go to search in the European Commission link. So let's start with provisions and rules of production and processing. Here we are in the part 3 of the lecture, which is referring to the implementation rules of Regulation 834, which is in fact Regulation 889 of 2008. So starting with Section 4, Disease Prevention and Veterinary Treatment. The regulation, the logic, or the objective of regulation is that the well-being of animals is based in disease prevention and not that be done with veterinary treatments. However, let's see what Article 23 says. According to this article, and according to this regulation for sure, it is prohibited chemically synthesized allopathic veterinary medicinal products, so use of them, or antibiotics for preventive treatments. It is prohibited substance or are prohibited substances to promote growth or production, and prohibited also hormones or similar substances to control reproduction or for other purposes. Article 23 continues. It is prohibited or are prohibited rodenticides to be used, and they can be used only in traps. Products for cleaning and disinfection are listed in Annex 7. Allowed pesticides are in Annex 2. It can be used for the elimination of insects and other pests in buildings and other installations where livestock is kept. For this case, however, operators must keep recording of what they use in their farm or in their holdings. Article 24, veterinary treatment, where despite preventive measures to ensure animal health as laid down in Article 14, paragraph 1 of Regulation 834 of 2007, animals become sick or injured, so in this case they shall be treated immediately, if necessary, in isolation and in suitable housing. Can be used phototherapeutic products, homeopathic products, trace elements, products listed in Section 1 of Annex 5, and products listed in Section 3 of Annex 6. They shall be used before and in preference to chemically synthesized allopathic veterinary treatment or antibiotics. When no effect, only under veterinarian prescription can be used allopathic veterinary medicinal products. Animal back to the conversion period. So in this case, if they have to be used allopathic medicines, animals will go back to the conversion period. So for this, you see Article 38 in this lesson, in this lecture. It is necessary and it is obligatory to have records for certification bodies or control authorities for everything that the operator has used in its producing units or holding. Article 25, specific rules on disease prevention and veterinary treatment in beekeeping. So it is focused on beekeeping. The operator has to focus on protecting frames, hives, and combs from pests. For that, they have to refer to Annex 2, which has allowed pesticides or rodenticides in traps. In case there are problems with brood destructor, what can be done? Destruction of male brood permitted only to isolate infestation, so not in other cases. Otherwise, there is permitted farming lactic, acetic, oxalic acids, menthol, thymol, eucalyptol, or camphor. If chemical synthesized allopathic products are used, then the hives will go back to conversion. Now let's start with chapter 3, which is focused on processed products. Article 26, rules for the protection of processed feed and food. The basic principle is a good manufacturing practice. So there are good manufacturing practice where to be based the processing and production processes. And what else? Register all operations and quantities processed. Important that operators establish and update appropriate procedures based on a systematic identification of critical processing steps. In particular, take precautionary measures to avoid the risk of contamination by unauthorized substances or products, implement suitable cleaning measures, monitor their effectiveness and record these operations. C. Guarantee that non-organic products are not placed on the market with an indication referring to the organic production method. So let's say in case of by mistake, but again, this is a very severe infringement of the or violation of the regulation. It is important to have clear separation and register all operations and quantities processed. So I want to stress again what I mentioned at the beginning. One operator has to register all operations and quantities that he produce and proceed in its holding. Article 27 and 27A, sorry. Use of certain products and substances in processing of food. For the purpose of Article 19, paragraph 2, point C of Regulation 834 of 2007, it is possible to use non-organic agricultural ingredients listed in Annex 9. So you can check and see the Annex 9 of this regulation. Here is a list of substances that can be used following Article 19 of Regulation 834 of 2007. And it can be include enzymes, colors for eggshells, flavoring substances, water, salt, vitamins, yeast, substances to be withdrawn, but not yet. Products and substances for use in production of processed organic food, yeast and yeast products can be found in Annex 8. Article 28. Use of certain non-organic ingredients for agricultural origin in processing food. For the purpose of the same article that I mentioned previously, Article 19, paragraph 2, point C of Regulation 834 of 2007, is possible to use non-organic agricultural ingredients listed in Annex 9. Ingredients of agricultural origin which have not been produced organically find in Annex 9. Article 29. Authorization for of non-organic food ingredients of agricultural origin by member state. And Article 29A, specific provision for seaweed. So the article indicates what can be used for fresh or dehydrated seaweed. Article 30, collection of products and transport to preparation units. Operators may carry out simultaneous collection of organic and non-organic products only in the cases where appropriate measures are taken to prevent any possible mixture or exchange with non-organic products. And remember that it is a very severe um, violation of the regulation. Ensure the identification of the organic products. The operator shall keep the information relating the collection days, hours, circuit, and date and time of reception of the products available. So they have to make available to the certification body or control authorities. Article 31 deals or speak about packaging and transport of products to other operation or units with the objective, with the purpose to avoid substitution or mixture or between organic and non-organic products. So the focus is to transport and to labeling. So regarding the transport, only appropriate packaging and containers. I'm not going to details. However, if we will deal with practice, here we can even speak much more. And the labeling. Labeling is important in all the stages in order to not have a substitution or exchanging for mistake between organic and non-organic, the certified and non-certified products. According to label, in the label, first we have to have the name and address of the operator, the name of the product or a description of the compound feeding stuff, accompanied by reference to the organic production method. So they have to in the label has to be a reference to organic production method in order to not mislead and to do mistakes. The name and or the code number of the control body or authority to which the operator is subject of control. The lot identification mark according to a marking system either approved at national level or agreed with the control body or authority level. The information above may also presented on a companion document if such a document can be undeniably linked with the packaging, container, or vehicular transport of the product. The closing of packaging, containers, or vehicles shall not be required where transportation is direct between an operator and another operator who are both subject to the organic control system. The products are accompanied by a document giving the information required. Both the expediting and the receiving operators shall keep documentary records of such transport operations available for certification bodies or control authorities for such transport operations. Article 32. Special rules for transporting feed to other production or preparation units or storage premises. It is important to have a clear physical separation during transport of organic in convention and conventional feed if they are in the same transporting vehicle. Then what else? Measure for vehicles and containers carrying non-organic and after, so carrying first non-organic products and after it uh, organic products. It is important to have documentary records of operators for certification bodies or control authorities. Then the Article 32A is about transport of live fish. I'm not giving much information here. You can consult directly in the regulation. Let's go to other slide. Article 33, reception of products from other units and other operators. So between units of the same holding and between different operators. On receipt of an organic product, the data on operator shall be required and the presence of the indication has to be provided. The operator shall cross-check the information on the accompanying documents referring here to Article 66 of the same regulation, so the Regulation 889 of 2008. Article 34, special rules for the reception of products from a third country. Organic products shall be imported from a third country in appropriate packaging or containers, closed in a manner preventing substitution of the content, identification of the exporter, identification of the lot or the batch number, with the certificate of control for import from third countries. The result of this verification shall be explicitly mentioned in the documentary accounts referred to Article 66 of this regulation. Article 35. Storage of products. Organic products shall be clearly identifiable at all times in order to avoid any mixing, avoid any contamination. Cleaning before, it is important to clean before organic products are stored in the storage. And what else? The operators shall record all the operations, like mentioned in different articles for other operations or operators. Section 4. Exceptional production rules related to catastrophic circumstances in accordance with Article 22, paragraph 2 of Regulation number 834 of 2007. Article 47. Catastrophic circumstances. The competent authority may authorize on a temporary basis, in the case of high mortality of animals and bees caused by health or catastrophic circumstances, the renewal or reconstitution of the herd or flock or apiaries with non-organic animals when organically reared animals apiaries are not available. Continue with Article 47 about catastrophic circumstances. So the use of non-organic feeding stuffs for a limited specific time area by individual operators when forage production is lost or when restrictions are imposed, in particular as a result of exceptional meteorological conditions, the outbreak of infectious diseases, the contamination with toxic substances, or as a consequence of fires. The feeding of bees with organic honey, organic sugar, or organic syrup, sugar syrup in case of long-lasting exceptional weather conditions or catastrophic circumstances which hamper the nectar or honeydew production. This will be upon approval by the competent authority. Operators keep documentary evidence, and member states shall inform each other and the Commission on the exception they have granted under point C of the first sub-paragraph within 1 month from its approval. Chapter 7. Seed Database. Article 48 Database. Each member state shall ensure a computerized database for seed or seed potatoes available on its territory obtained by the organic production method. The database shall be managed either by the competent authority of the member state referred to as manager of the database. Article 49. Registration. Varieties for which seed or seed potatoes produced by the organic production method are available shall be registered in the database referred to the Article 48 at the request of the supplier. Any variety which has not been registered in the database shall be considered as unavailable with regard to Article 45, paragraph 5. Article 50 and 51 about conditions for registration and information. The manager of the database may, with the approval by the competent authority of the member state, refuse a supplier's application for registration or delete the previously accepted registration if the supplier does not comply with the requirements. So, which requirements has been subject to the control system for organic production and comply with the general requirements applicable to seed and seed potatoes. Continue with Article 50 and 51, conditions for registration and information. Make available information. Scientific name of species, variety, the name and contact details of the supplier or his representative, the area where the supplier can deliver the seed or seed potatoes, the country or region in which the variety is tested and approved for the purpose of the common catalogues of varieties, the date from which the seed or seed potatoes will be available, the name and or code number of the control authority or control body in charge of the control of the operator. The supplier shall immediately inform the manager of the database if any of the registered varieties are no longer available. The database contains a list of species for which organically produced seed or seed potatoes are available in sufficient quantities and for a significant number of varieties in all parts of the community referred to Article 45, paragraph 3. Article 52-53, access to information and registration fee. The information in the database referred to the Article 48 shall be available through the Internet free of cost to the users of seed or seed potatoes and to the public. The member states shall ensure that all users referred are informed at least once a year about the system and how to obtain the information in the database. Each registration may be subject to the levying of a fee. Article 44, Annual Report. The authorities or bodies designated to grant authorization shall register all authorizations and shall make this information available in a report to the competent authority of the member state and to the manager of the database. Article 55, Summary Report. The competent authority of the member state shall, before 31st March of each year, collect the reports and send a summary. Article 56. Information upon a request. Upon request from a member state or the Commission, detailed information on authorization granted in individual cases shall be made available to other member states or to the Commission. And with the last slide, we concluded the Title 2 about rules of production, processing, seeds, animal husbandry, and so on. So now I surpassed the Title 3 and 4 of this regulation because they are presented in separated presentation based on their thematic, because there I have presented not only the articles of regulation 889 of 2008, but even other regulations that are linked to conversion and to control. So surpassing and not treating here or speaking about Title 3 and 4 in this presentation, in this lecture, I'm passing to the last title, Title 5 of this regulation, which is named Transmission of Information to the Commission transitional and final provisions. Very short. I have chosen only this short summary of all the Title 5. Chapter 1, transmission of information to the Commission, statistics by Member States to Commission for the transmission of the statistical information shall use the single entry point provided by the Commission, Eurostat in fact. And Chapter 2, transitional and final provisions, transitional measure, most of them already closed in 2010. Waiting the inclusion of detailed processing rules for the pet food, national rules, or in the absence thereof, private standards accepted or recognized by the member states shall apply. Reminding you to follow or to see the other lectures, Title 3 and Title 4, which are presented separated in other following lectures. So till the next time, I wish you again good study and see you soon. Bye bye.